Hi and welcome. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and I went on a shop hop yesterday. Now, I went with my mom and two cousins, Misty and Tina. We decided to go over to the next state over in Indiana and go on the shop hop. Now, this is only the second shop hop I've ever been on. The first shop hop I went with was also in Indiana and was also with my mom and two cousins, but it's completely different quilt stores. So, our first stop was to Nancy's Fancy Sewing Corner. So at Nancy's Fancy Sewing Corner, we bought our passports, and the shop hop was 7 quilt shops. We were going to hit all of them, and we did hit all 7 yesterday. But with that passport, the passports cost us $11. We got a free pattern, and at each shop, we got a 20% off one item. So let me show you what I got at Nancy's Fancies. I keep wanting to say Fancy Nancy, but it's Nancy's Fancies. I got this backing fabric that I'm going to use on the back of this quilt. Now, if you've seen my 200 plus quilt top series, I need a lot of backings to finish all those quilt tops. So that was mostly what I was after yesterday, was looking for backings. But I got a few extras, of course. So the next thing I bought at Nancy's Fancies was this half yard pack here. And then I got a pattern with it, which the pattern was for a bag. And then I've got another pack of half yard, and I got another pattern that came with it for a quilt. So Nancy Fancies, we actually drove by and had to turn around and go back. And when we went into this store, we were very pleasantly surprised. Now, this is a small quilt shop as far as square footage goes, but there was so much fabric. We really, really liked the store. We also met the owner, Nancy, and she was a very friendly person. And we enjoyed this store so much that we actually went over our allotted scheduled time. But that's okay. We made up for it, and we will definitely go back. Now, Nancy's Fancies Sewing Corner was in Richmond, Indiana. Then for our second stop, we went to Pastime Fabrics, and that store is in Greenfield, Indiana. And this is what I bought at Pastime Fabrics. Just a 3-yard cut of backing. Now, this was already pre-cut, and with my 20% off discount, I got this for $30. So that's about $10 a yard for wide backing fabric, which I thought was an excellent deal. So next on the list was Quilt Quarters over in Indianapolis. And at Quilt Quarters, I bought this, which I'm going to use as a backing for this. Then, as we was walking out of Quilt Quarters, we discovered this little display rack that had 1-yard cuts of fabric for $5. So, we got a few of those. Got this one. And this one. this one and this one. Now at quilt quarters, we did have a little bit of confusion. So at the other places we have been, we all got our passport stamped as soon as we got in the door. So that's what we did at quilt quarters. Well, then when it was time to check out, I guess there was a bit of confusion because they couldn't figure out how we already got it stamped. And I guess at quilt quarters, you were supposed to get that done as you left or checked out. So now it's the only store that did that. But just in case anybody is new and wants to go there, don't get your passport stamped at quilt quarters until you check out. Now it all worked out and everything was fine. But just so you know, because we didn't know, get it stamped when you leave. Now next on the list was Backdoor Quilts, which is in Greenwood, Indiana. And this is what I bought there. I just bought some more backing fabric. Now at Backdoor Quilts, they had a lot of batiks that caught my eye that I really liked. However, I still had a few more quilt stops to go to, and I didn't want to spend my money on more batiks when I'm really in need of backings. So I didn't buy any, although I was really tempted. Next on the list was the Quilter's Nook in Versailles, Indiana. So what I bought there was this beautiful green backing fabric that I thought is going to look very good on the back of a green Bargello quilt I have. And I also bought these fat quarters. So I bought 2 of these. So I have a half yard of each. So we were really cutting close on time. And we were trying to get out of there and onto the next quilt shop. And this backing that I got there, I thought was interesting because the workers hadn't seen it before. But once I got it, my mom and one of my cousins had to get it too. So we ended up buying the whole boat between the 3 of us. And then next on the list was Tree City Stitches. Now, unfortunately, because we were in such a hurry, I didn't get any pictures of the outside. Now, I think there's one picture that my cousin sent me of a quilt on the inside. So we were in quite a hurry to get in there and get out and onto the next quilt shop before 5 because we were really trying to get all 7 quilt shops in one day since we live in Ohio and this was in Indiana. So Tree City Stitches was definitely a place I would have loved to spend more time in, and I think I'm going to go back. They also gave me a 20% off coupon for my next total purchase, so I'm sure I'll be back sometime. But what I bought, more backing fabric, and I also bought this. I really liked the alligator print. Now, Tree City Stitches had a lot of these little bundles that were already together, and they have quilt patterns, these little quilt patterns inside, and they had a lot of these. Like I said, I would have loved to spend more time in there, but we really didn't have a lot of time. We was kind of go in, get your 20% item, and get out so we could get on to the last quilt shop before 5. Now, the next stop and our final stop was over at Polar Fabrics. So Tree City Fabrics was in Greensburg, Indiana. And then we made our way over to Polar Fabrics, which is in Liberty, Indiana. Now, we were cutting it close. We got to Polar Fabrics at 4:45, and they close at 5. So we were trying to go in and get our passport stamped and turned in so we could be entered into the door prizes and then use our 20% coupon for one item. Now, once we got in there, they were so accommodating and so friendly to us and told us to take our time, but we did want to be respectful of their time. So we did leave until about 5:30. So thank you, Polar Fabrics, for staying open to accommodate us. But with that being said, this is a huge store and I could have spent so much more time in there. However, like I said, we were trying to be respectful of their time and to get out because I know they had other things and families that they needed to get to too. But with that being said, let's take a look at what I got. So I got some more backing fabric. And then I also found these. These are 5 1-yard cuts that came with a free pattern as well. And these were only $42.99. So at a yard, if each of those a yard, that's like $8.59 a yard with a free pattern. So I thought that was a very good deal. So I got this. And this one. And the free patterns I got to go with that were the Lazy Day, and the Jacob's Ladder. So that is everything I got. Now, I would have loved to have been able to spend so much more time at each of the quilt shops, but especially at Polar Fabrics because it was a very big quilt shop and they had so much to look at. And unfortunately, I was just trying my best to get out of there, but I will definitely be going back. So, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. Bye.